In this video, you're going to learn the one problem that your poker mind can't solve and why it's the cause of all of your problems. Once I figured this out, it was an absolute game changer for me. I know it's going to be a game changer for so many of you guys watching. Now, before we go into the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. Now, the poker mind is really, really powerful. You guys watching this, you've got really strong logical, analytical brains that can solve complex problems that the rest of the world struggle with. However, it's got a big downside. And today we're going to learn about the downside of the logical brain. Now it's causing you so many problems as a poker player. Once we see the problem, we can then start to fix the problem and come out the other side as a much better, more balanced poker player. You guys up for the coming of the ride? Because it's going to be a nice journey and you're going to learn so much. Alright, so to understand this problem, we first need to be aware of 4 key things. There's only 4 things in the world that you really need to understand. The first is the world itself. The whole physical form, objects, things, the whole world of stuff is the first area. Then we've got our mind and how we interact with our environment, how we interact with the world. That's through our senses, our vision, our auditory, our touch, our taste, and how our mind builds perceptions and lens that we see through. So our mind's interpretation with the world. Everyone's quite aware of those. Those are quite obvious. You can't actually go through life very long without understanding there's a world out there, there's a mind in there, and there's interaction. So those things, not too many problems in the short term. Then we've got a not very well understood area, which is called the heart. Now, people think the heart's just this beating organ that's just going boom, 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 sending blood around. But the heart actually has its own brain and its own intelligence, and it's taking in information, and it takes in more subtle information than the brain, which we're going to get into in today's video. And then we've got consciousness, pure consciousness. This is like just awareness, energy. If you go deep inside yourself, there's something that's watching. So you watching this video, who is it that watches the watcher? If you go deep, there's a consciousness, the energy. I'm sure you guys can relate to what I'm talking about here. And this is what we're going to explore today and how the logical brain really, really struggles with this. So consciousness is pure energy, okay? So pure energy, it's a lot of it we can't take in, but we take in about maybe 1 to 5% of the energy around us via our senses. However, there's a lot of information that we don't pick up. And the heart picks up subtle vibrations. So subtle vibrations in your environment get picked up from the heart, okay? So we'll call this connection is kind of energy, okay? So stay with me at the start of this bit because it's going to maybe a little bit confusing when I'm talking about the heart, energy, consciousness, but I'm going to go into the more logical brain stuff and show why this is really important. So these two, the heart picks up vibrations from consciousness as energy, okay? And the heart, as you're probably aware, expresses itself through feelings, okay? So the heart picks up subtle vibrations from consciousness or from energy, and it then expresses that in feelings. Now, the heart then tries to relay information to the brain, and here's where the problems come. So a feeling that the heart has then tries to relate to the brain, which speaks in logic, and the brain doesn't get it. So the brain and the world, we interpret the brain through logic, okay? So the brain talks in logic, whereas the heart talks in feeling, okay? So when the heart even has picked up some information, it then tries to pass that information over to the mind. However, the mind only understands logic and the heart only understands feeling. So what the brain does, the mind's very clever, or thinks he's clever, and he goes, wait a second, I don't know what you're talking about in feelings, let's talk in logic. Let's talk in logic. Now the problem is, let's imagine the heart speaks Chinese and the mind speaks English. So the heart's got a problem or a feeling or emotion, it relays that to the mind in Chinese, and the mind just goes, I've got this and I'm going to solve the problem. So imagine you were taking a test and the test was meant to be in Chinese, but you started writing in English. You're not going to do very well. And this is exactly what happens with the problem with the mind and the heart. So every feeling that you have, often the mind gives it no respect, and the reason it gives no respect, it just doesn't understand it. The mind doesn't understand feelings. So what does it do? It tries to recode feeling into logic. So it's like, oh, I feel good. Oh, that must mean if I do these things, that make me feel good. So the brain ends up creating this list of things, and it goes, if these things happen, I feel good. If these things happen, I feel bad. So the problem of the heart's kind of feelings that's going through, the mind tries to take control. And the mind treats the heart like a little child. It's like, quieten down now, little emotions, Enough's enough now. Don't worry, the brain's going to take over it. Logic's going to prevail. We'll sort this. So I'm sure you guys can relate to this. When emotions come up, when you've got a strong logical, analytical mind, what you do is you try to logic your way through it. You try to go, why am I feeling this way? It must be because of this reason. It must be because of that. All right, I'll do more of this. I'll do less of that. That must be the reason. And the problem is like I said, trying to solve the problem of the heart, the feelings, with the mind. And this never works. So we've now got this problem where the feelings are coming up and you're trying to solve them with logic. Now, as a poker player, you're going to be very good at all the analytical stuff, but most players, unless you work on this area, are going to have no clue how to deal with emotions. And you're going to try and use that logical part of your brain to bat down those emotions. And those emotions are going to keep coming up in different forms, and you're not going to know how to deal with them. So the first thing I want you guys to realize is the mind can't solve emotional problems. You just need to understand this concept. Emotional problems of feeling cannot be solved up here. Okay, you can't solve them. I know it might be hard for some of you guys to believe, yeah, I could just do this, that. You can't. You're trying to use the wrong process. So we can't solve emotional problems. But the problem is the mind has taken on the job of trying to make you feel good. But can you see the problem there? Feelings come from the heart, logic in the mind, and the mind's going, oh, I'll sort this. I'll show you how you feel good. I'll show you how you feel happy. You want to feel bliss? You want to feel good emotions, inspired? Don't worry, we'll do these things. Problem is, it has no clue. The mind's just completely messing it up in short terms. So what you need to do is go, okay, my feelings are a separate game to my thoughts. Feelings, thoughts, separate. My logical mind is never going to fix the feelings. So what I want you guys to be aware of is you need to create a separation between feeling and thought. And that logical voice, every time that logic tries to get involved in making you feel good, tell them you gotta push it away. You gotta push it away. You gotta understand that the only way for the heart to express emotions and for feelings to come out is you've got to let them be expressed. You can't logic your way through emotions. You can't logic your way through feelings. So let's say you feel frustrated and your brain goes, oh, I'm feeling frustrated because of XYZ reason, I need to do that. If you could spot your brain doing that and go, oh, wait a second, this Adam guy said that the mind can't solve the emotional problem, well, what do I do instead? You let that feeling of frustration come up and you let it go. You feel the feeling and you let it go, and you stop the mind from trying to solve the problem. And what happens with emotions is they basically just come up and go through you. Whether it's a good emotion, a bad emotion, they generally just go up and through. It's like an energy that rises. Now, the problem is we cling on to good emotions. We're like, oh, that feels good. Give me more of that. Oh, that feels bad. Push it away. So we push and we cling. We try to suppress bad emotions and we try to cling on to good emotions. As a result, we end up with lots of blockages in our kind of energy levels around the heart. And the brain goes, oh, those blockages, don't worry, I'll fix them. I'll fix those blockages. Do more of this, you feel good. Do more of that, you feel bad. It's the wrong process. The brain has no authority to be doing that. The brain is stepping out of his boundaries. He's stepping out of his area of expertise. He's a logical, problem solver, analytical thinker, the brain. He cannot solve feelings. He does not know the language. Like I said, language is Chinese. He's speaking English. He's trying to pass an exam, a high-level exam, which is in Chinese, and writing in English. He's clueless. Do not listen to him. So you need to get in touch with what those feelings are and them coming up. Now, this was probably the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life. I was so logical, so driven by thoughts, just being analytical. Any emotion that came up, I just logic my way through it. Logic statement. And I didn't understand that I needed to be okay with my feelings. I need to let feelings come up, emotions come up, and pass through without this bit getting involved and suppressing them. So what you guys need to realize is the key to getting into your emotions and being able to solve this one problem, and the one problem, in case you haven't identified it, is that we can't solve emotional problems through logic. So anytime you feel tilted, frustrated, angry, sad, anytime the brain's telling you do this to make you feel better, it's a failed game. And in reality, you've got to be conscious the whole day, and you've got to learn to let go. Now, this is an amazing concept once you get it. It's something that's very difficult at first, depending on your level of kind of mindset evolution. But basically, letting go just means when emotion comes up, don't suppress it, don't cling on to it, just experience it. Let it come out. Let it go out. Obviously, if it's like a rage or anger, you don't want to let it express itself fully, but you let the emotion come out without the mind trying to say, do this to make me feel okay. So my challenge to you guys is, after watching this, to be conscious of your mind trying to solve emotional problems. And anytime you feel anything in the poker tables, any sort of tilt, frustration, anger, watch where that emotion's coming from. And just, can you be conscious enough for your day to watch the emotion? And instead of trying to control it with the mind, just let it go. And let it go, it's called like relax and release. You relax and release, you breathe in, and you move away. So with a negative emotion, what happens is we often get sucked into it. We get dragged into it, and then we think more thoughts and feel more things around that. If you just consciously go, okay, I feel this negative emotion, relax and release. So drop your shoulders, slow your breathing down, relax and release. Just being conscious enough to even think about relaxing and releasing lets the emotion pass through. And often, most emotions, unless they're very highly charged, will just pass straight through and you won't have to cling on to them. So this is an absolute game changer. If you guys can start applying this, where you let the emotion come out instead of using the brain to try and solve that problem, it will fix like almost all of your tilt issues. Almost all of your mindset issues are coming from you think the brain can solve the emotions problem, which it can't. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you're gonna love the free quiz I put together for you in the description, which will tell you what level your poker mindset is right now. Go for the quiz, it'll tell you which level you're at and what you need to do to take your mindset to the next level. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. There'll be plenty more coming from me very soon. Don't forget to hit the like button before you go, and I'll catch you in the next video.